Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video we are talking about pumice. Now pumice is something that is used a lot in succulent mixes. It is slightly expensive than perlite. If you tend to look at it in first go, you might feel that this is perlite, but this is not perlite, this is pumice. So pumice is of different sizes. I'm going to put the sizes on the screen. Now this is the least one. This is the most smallest one that you can get. There are even larger ones than this. Now it is a natural occurring substance which is not very organic. Basically it does not have its own organic, or I would say any nutritional value, just like perlite. It's very light. When we talk about density, it's not very heavy, but if I have to compare it with perlite, then it is slightly heavier than perlite, but not very heavy. It is slightly heavier than perlite. So on my right hand side I have perlite. You can see the shape of perlite is slightly different, whereas pumice is a little bit more, it looks like crushed gravel. So this is the comparison. Now perlite is very light. I'm holding it because I'm quite scared that a slight breeze will blow off all the perlite from this glass. But whereas I feel pumice is much more dense compared to perlite. So pumice is slightly more expensive than perlite. Perlite is something that is used more frequently compared to pumice, but of late pumice is getting more into the picture. A lot of people have started using pumice. Again, it all depends upon what size you want. This is the smallest size. I'll put the size on the side, what exactly it is. So there are different sizes of pumice, whereas perlite usually comes only in one size. You might not get it in different sizes. This is going to make pumice is going to make your soil very porous, loose, very airy. You can use it the same way how I've shown you to use perlite, because in case if you're running out of pumice, you can just add little bit pumice around the root area, and it's going to make the root area very loose, porous and airy, making the roots grow better. It will help the roots breathe and it will grow much better. So what I'm going to do is, there is nothing much apart from this. It's very simple to use. You can just take it and mix it in your soil mix. That's it. I'm going to show you how to mix it in the soil mix. Now I personally do not use pumice because I use aquarium sand. My aquarium sand is already very gritty. It's very porous. I usually do not require pumice, but this is just because a lot of people wanted to know how does pumice look and how well and what is the difference between pumice and perlite. So I just wanted to compare it, because this is slightly more dense. Perlite is very light. It can easily fly off. A lot of people do not use perlite for the reason because the moment there is a strong breeze, all of the perlite is going to fly away, especially if it's on the surface. Whereas pumice usually is very light. Even though it's very light, pumice, even though it's very light, it usually does not fly away with slightest breeze. So apart from pumice being a natural occurring substance in nature, it has also a lot of minerals in it, such as the vital minerals such as phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sodium, copper, iron. So these are all the minerals that are already present in this in pumice, but it does not have those nutritions what NPK has or what DAP has. So basically it's not highly organic. It just have these minerals. So in case if you want to add it, you can add it. It's not that something that is going to have a lot of nutrients in it. It has a very minimum amount of these minerals. It's not like it has a really high amount of organic matter in this. It just has a very lean minerals in it, which is definitely going to help your succulents. It's not that it's going to harm, but again, you cannot use like a lot of it. Try to use like maybe 10 or 20% of pumice in your potting mix. It's just to make the soil mix loose. Now the whole idea of adding pumice is not because you want to add minerals to the soil. The whole idea of adding pumice to the soil is to make your soil loose and porous. Especially for a lot of people, the soil is very heavy, and this tends to work out really well to create a little bit of aeration inside the soil. If you have an issue of the soil getting very compact, then you can use pumice. But always remember guys, the dust is the most important part that you need to get rid of from your potting mix, because you have seen my mountain soil video as well. It was the fine dust that was, even though the mountain soil was so grainy, so gritty, even then it still got compact at the bottom, because while watering the water used to pass, and that sand, that dust started to get accumulated near the drain hole, and that's why it started getting compact. So it's the dust that we need to get rid of. Otherwise, even if you're going to use pumice and if you still have that dust, the dust will again get accumulated with this, and it will start making the pumice as well compact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how I'm going to pot, because I have some Echeveria Violet Queen that I have to repot. So I'm going to just mix it in my sand and then do a repotting and show it to you guys. So guys, now we are ready to pot. I have my pot. This is a papercrete pot. I've used a stone to cover the drain hole. These are our succulents. These are Echeveria Violet Queen. Yes, these are Echeveria Violet Queen. They look a little bit like Echeveria elegans, but these are Echeveria Violet Queen. We have our pumice over here, and this is a soil mix. So I'm going to add it to it, but before that, I'm going to be adding little bigger pieces of stone at the base. The reason is because I don't think that this soil is going to be enough for this pot. So I'm just going to keep these. This is not necessary, I mean, because I do not have a lot of soil, so I'm using these rocks at the base so that this can, give a little bit of mass and volume, so that I don't have to use a lot of soil. Just a small little hack that I tend to do whenever I tend to run out of. Now over here, I think this must be very minimum amount of pumice. So I do not need to use pumice, but I'm just doing this because I want to show you guys about this. I wanted to make a video on this because a lot of people want to know what exactly is pumice. So that's the reason why. So now it's completely up to you. It's not necessary that you have to use so little, because the reason why I'm using little is because my soil already contains a lot of sand and it's already very gritty. So I don't actually require this. I'm just using this for making this video. I just wanted to show you guys because a lot of people wanted to know what exactly is pumice, how does it look, how does it weigh, what is the similarity between pumice and perlite. So I just wanted to make a video. So I'm not adding a lot. So this is how you can just add pumice in your soil mix. So this is how it tends to look like, the perlite. I'm going to quickly add this into this pot. Hopefully this sand should be full. Okay, I think this is good enough. It just managed to fill up exactly how much I wanted it, thankfully. So this was a good hack to use, like in case if you do not have a lot of soil and you want to urgently pot your succulents. This is one of the hack you can go. Whenever you tend to filter, you get these lumps of soil, you can use them at the base. They also give you a very good drainage, but ensure that they are really hard, because some of them will melt when you tend to put water, and some of them are really hard. When you try to break them, they do not break them because they have already turned into hard clay. So those are the ones that you can use. So now I will quickly start planting. Now these were all cuttings that were kept to callus. Now all of them have dried up. So it's time to add into this collection, into this arrangement. So now as you can see, the pot is very big. I can add as many as I want. Like I could have added another 5 to 6 of them, but I do not want to overcrowd it. So I'm just going to keep very little, very minimum of them, so that they have enough space. So because these succulents, they tend to grow really huge, so I do not want to push in too many succulents. I want to leave enough space so that they can grow. These tend to open up just like how our Echeverias, our regular Echeverias tend to open up. That's how they tend to do. So I want to give them enough space. So once we are done with the arrangement, all you have to do is just clean up all of the dirt. Do not blow a lot of air, because again the soil is just added to the pot. It's going to be very loose, so it's going to fly again onto the succulents. So just very carefully you can just clean it off. As you can see, it just blew off some soil, so you have to be extremely careful. So we are done with the arrangement. Now if you want, you can just leave it as it is. If you feel it's very basic and you want to make it very creative, you can definitely add some decor piece, but ensure that you do not overcrowd it. Do not make it too much. Do not add top dressing, especially if you're using soil, because I have garden soil. I cannot use top dressing, even though it looks very pretty, but for me succulents are more important, so I don't do a top dressing. But what I tend to do is probably I'll add a small little decor piece just to make it look little presentable. Otherwise it tends to look a little boring. So here we have our arrangement. It's pretty simple. So this is how pumice tends to work. It will not usually tend to float. In case if it tends to float, you know what to do. You can just lock it into the soil. But this is how it tends to look like. Now this is going to be kept in indirect bright light. No watering as of now, because they do not have roots. We have just repotted them. Even if they had roots, we will still not water. We will wait for some time and then water probably after 3 to 4 days. But over here my succulents do not have roots, so I will wait until they root. And how I'm going to check that is by shaking the succulent slightly gently. If it feels it's very stiff in the soil, it means that they have started to root. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.